Hello, I'm Vlad, CEO at iFrame. iFrame replaces a complex retrieval advantage generation stack with infinite context window inference. Running on iFrame, models like Llama, Kimi, and DeepSeek processes gigabytes of data in one pass, maintaining full context awareness. And our attention version control system ensures that you don't pay a fortune for just saying hi to the system prompted endpoint. Using non-volatile memory as a buffer for GPU enables billion tokens super prompts, unlocking over 95% savings in input tokens and follow-up queries. Here's how it works in practice. And iFrame is basically the configuration that allows to select the model supported by our framework. In this case, it's Llama Maverick. You can see that it's already infinite context window ready, which means we already wrap it over our SDK. There is still a limitation for output defined by the model creators, but you can extend this via fine tuning and play with parameters. On this tab, you can also see the input, output, and cache tokens cost. The configuration of iframe enabled model is a little bit different from typical OOM configuration. While we have system instructions, we also have chain of thoughts instructions and memory instructions. Chain of thought instructions are used when the model is responding to a question, and they help ensure that the way it thinks is aligned with your goals. The memory instructions are even more interesting. They really matter when you're using MCP or API sourced knowledge. That's how the model aligns whatever dataset is coming from third party systems with your goals when it generates so called snippets or knowledge datasets, which then become part of the model's knowledge. The process is as simple as uploading any files. Here we can see a 322 gigabyte medical history sample from electronic healthcare record system. In this case, it's from Epic, which then becomes part of the prompt, like a system prompt. The MCP API tab is responsible for connecting to almost any type of data source. This feature is pretty much an adoption of MIT project called Active Pieces, and it's an open source project very similar to Zapier, where you can create agentic pipelines, connect MCPs, and set up to dos like in typical robotic process automation tools. The MIT community fully maintains this project and has a large use base to serve as a free contributors to our MCP server for iFrame. We are the wrapper we provide. You can set up connection. Like here, you can see choose the type of connection, provide other details. I'll skip this detail since it's very similar to Zapier. Basically, it is a wrapper for MIT open source project Active Pieces maintained by their large community. When you have your knowledge and your MCP server connected, for example, to retrieve information from electronic health record system, or if you want to fetch information about some specific case for an H-1B visa or some market analysis and so on, what do is connect the source here, and then you can create new chat in one click. That gives you the ability to test the model and make sure your system prompts and output expectations are fully aligned. And you can basically do this ping pong indefinitely and use it as internal tool for yourself. Now, what happens is we append questions to this first initial prompt that is always cached and paid for only once. Let's try it out. As we can see, it knows everything about the patient. It explains what happened with the patient a long time ago and even conducted a web search for us. You can disable or expand web search at any time. This is our proprietary web indexing system built with datasets as cached prompts and slightly modified BM25 algorithm. They're similar to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, etc. Another interesting thing you can do, besides the default features, you can create fork from this communication, and the fork will be cached forever context. It's like Git, but not for the code, but for attention, for the context. You can use this to start your questions from that specific point of communication indefinitely. in parallel and never pay again for feeding the entire chat to the model. It's useful for distilling infinite context knowledge into smaller model weights or using it as a judgment model in your own applications or even as a main model. When you're ready with your testing, but want to use it for some external product, like creating an AI support bot or menstruation cycle management application, for example, you can go to this tab. Just go back to your iFrame, click the sharing button, create a client, then create a key for this specific client, and that's it. You're pretty much ready to share this key with your application developers. They can use typical Node.js or Python queries, and you will track every request to your system. You can control rate limits, you can control allowed domains or application hosts, and you can also revoke a key or deactivate the entire client for security reasons anytime. No embeddings, no vector DB, no external orchestration of all this Frankenstein. So that's how it works. Thank you so much for your attention. I'd love to answer any questions via email, which is vlad at iframe.ai. Thank you.